Interesting. I wanted to get into this Roddy Ricch album next because that drop. I've been hearing a lot about it. And
I don't have much comments about it yet.
So you haven't heard it?
I heard like very little, but I guess I shouldn't really tell what other people told me about it. But people told me it was underwhelming.
Yeah, I've been hearing that, and like, I think it's a very weird balance for him because he's as talented as he is, and I think it's because we've seen him in other lights where he's really, really, really shined in a different kind of way than what his actual albums and music that he puts out on his own is. And people are just like, yo, why don't you do that? Why don't you do like the shit that you did on Donda? So why don't you do the shit that you do on whatever, this person's track, that person's track? Why do we only get like one or two songs that sound like that and the rest is just like the trap shit, you know? And it's just like, for one, like you said, he is young and whatever, but at the same time, I think that is like the sound that he's always kind of like gravitated to.
I don't think that's an excuse no more, man. This is
I don't think so
either,
either,
bro. This is a young man.
No. What I mean by like young is like, what is this? His second?
This is the second album. Yeah,
second album. Like,
people always. I'm not gonna say always, but people generally like don't do good on their sophomore.
And that's what I was just about to say. I'm like, it's his second album,
and I don't feel like overall it's a bad sophomore album. I don't think it's a bad sophomore album. But I do think that if we're looking at it for like what he could do, and I try to like balance that out with looking at what someone could do versus looking at where they're just like at right now, because like you can't necessarily like always judge someone super hard on what their potential is from where they're at right now, but at the same time you kind of gotta like be like, hey, you know, you could have all the like whenever I would hear like the outros or the intros on the songs, like that song with Lil Baby,
that Lil Baby
where it started
intro.
out, it was like it sounded like an orchestra kind of thing, like, and it was very mood setting, and then when the song actually started, it was just like a trap song again, and I was just like, yo, just put some words over that part, like,
just put something,
just let it keep going, like add the drums in, cool, but like do a little bit, take a little bit more like risks at the same time.
And I think that comes with time though, like in the field for him, like,
and then also I think it's a conversation about like his, just like the kind of situation that he's in with the artist, the way that he sells, and like his position as far as like, you know, he's on Atlantic, and if you know anything about Atlantic is numbers first, like before everything, you know, so he's got to sell,
exactly,
like he's got to make the money, you know what I'm saying, and like so he has to have like songs that are like charting or radio or this or that or whatever it has to be for whatever Atlantic thinks is good, but like he kind of has to fall into a certain range where he maybe can't take as many chances artistically as he would like to. I'm not sure if he would like to. I'm not saying that I know, but it's possible, you know.
I feel like he would like to, because just the pockets he's explored in. Like, if he didn't want to, I don't think he would have. And even hearing like you start to hear like certain glimpses of it, like how you was just talking about that track, Lil Baby. Like, I haven't heard it in my own way of how I like to listen to albums, but I have heard it, and like I've heard every song. I think at this point, I don't think it's underwhelming. I would say it's like, I think there's levels of it that I expect, and there's things of it that I'm like, okay, there's additions of some new things. I think Roddy is a person who's going to take time to like really define where he wants to fit in everything. Like, I think it's just his second project, and he's already in different pockets like a Donda. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's already in like those certain realms. So I don't know. I think he's still got a lot more to go.
Yeah.
Like, I just think he got a lot more to go. I think people see the potential because like you could see an end map, but like I think one thing that artists don't, like, we have no idea what he intends for his music to be, and I think if I see anything from like where he's going now, I think he didn't even expect to be like in those pockets. So he's like, damn, I didn't even know I could sound like that. I didn't even know I could sound like this. What is that?
And I think that's a very slippery slope, especially in today's day and age where like our big artists are getting younger and younger and younger. And like people, not even just like our big artists, but people are popping off at younger and younger ages. So it's just like, you know, they have a certain level of potential.
Yeah.
And because they're so young, you kind of see that potential a little bit more like already, like early on. like you're kind of we're just catching on to them earlier and earlier in a sense. So like with that potential aspect, it's like you kind of looking at them for what they could be, and then it's a slippery slope because you could either, force them to go harder, go bigger, and then do more and excel, or by locking them into whatever you think that they should be, their potential, you kind of like stunt that growth for them.
Because it's just like that's how I was gonna say though. I'm like now when I hear like Roddy Ricch's album is like underwhelming or like it has like some negative comments or anything else, I feel like it's just the way how we consume. Like I still just put like ultimately it's just how we consume music now. Because I don't think like I think like if because Roddy dropped when he dropped his last album and people was like boom, and that's when I really was like I know about Roddy, but like this one I'm like Roddy Ricch. But like now I feel like the way how we receive it. Dictates so much. Like if Roddy comes out or any artist now, I feel like they come out and they're like super consistent with everything and like just continues developing a consistent realm. We're like, we're tired of this. But like, it's kind of like what gets some numbers.
His last project was what 2 years ago?
Yeah,
2019 December.
It was 2018?
2019.
Okay, so yeah, two years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people when they see like. And that's consuming music back to that point. I think when people see that you've taken longer than a year with your project, they're like, this project's about to be so
it's got to be
level,
something.
But people don't really realize that before, like now, where people are dropping every year, multiple times a year, it was years in between, your favorite artist dropping project 1 and then project 2 and then project 3 and then project 4. It was like, 2 years was like the least that you would see most of the times, But now it's like if someone is taking 2 years to drop a project, this project is music has moved so fast past it that it's just like, okay, this project has to be way better than their last thing,
Yeah,
and I don't necessarily feel like it has to be like that, especially for him and how early on it is in his career overall, But he's still like a major like artist, like he's like if we're putting artists in tiers and like he's up like in that A tier kind of range, A B whatever like that's kind
that
of where
move
he's
to
at.
Miami track is nuts.
Like
that was the one with the intro. That intro was
like
nuts.
I just wish that intro would have kept going and that would have been like the song. Cause like if you go and listen to it, you'll know what we're saying. Cause like as soon as the song actually starts, the vibe is completely different. And then I think I think Crash the Party might be the best song. That's what we was talking about it in the group, and Lucas said that was the best song, and that's the one that I played. The first one. Yeah. That was the one where it was just like, okay, like this is a little bit more like it's reaching at something. It's getting at something. It's hitting at something. Yeah, the A. Yeah, that was hard. Yeah, that was hard.